Right, back on stage. I've got a 10-minute countdown. We've been cut short on timing as well.
It's going to be the best 10 minutes all day.
There we go. Do you want to do a quick introduction?
Greg Burnham, product manager at Elemental Cognition. Yep, it's up there.
So I'm in a very fortunate position that I feel like every few years I find something that just blows my mind. And actually, I think Matthew and Robin came out with a title. This is one of those moments for me where I just paused and went, holy hell, what on earth is Elemental Cognition and what have they done? So first of all, we came out with LLMs and they've been going for a long, long time and whatever else, from the Transformer paper to everything else we see now. But then you came out with this thing called Neurosymbolic AI.
Yeah.
I think Matthew and Robin gave me this so I can actually say that. What on earth is it?
Well, it's a buzzword, Nigel.
All right, go on. Then what really is it?
It refers. I like to think of it like the thinking fast and slow metaphor. It's an AI technology that brings together the fast, intuitive, associative of the large language models and any other statistical AI with the slow, precise mathematical reasoning of what's called symbolic AI, actually an older variety of AI. You put those two together and you've got a very powerful solution that gives you the best of both.
So for clarity, we're not saying that LLMs that we're all trying to play catch up on, because everyone's put it into full production and we're working. I see the smiles. We're not saying that those are dead just yet.
Not dead, but just part of the puzzle, missing something that if you want to deliver trustworthy solutions, trustworthy AI for use cases, one of our taglines, when you can't afford to be wrong, that applies to regulated industries more than anything, you need this combination of the LLM with what we call precise reasoning.
And that's actually why I picked you up, because frankly, every client we'd walked into came out with security, IP, hallucination, you name it. There was 1,000 reasons why we couldn't do this stuff in our organization today because, it hallucinates and it's going to get it wrong.
Right.
You then walk in the door with David and you go, for when AI can't afford to be wrong. So can you double click on that and give us an example?
Definitely. The way we build our system at EC is we have what we call a reasoning engine. It's not an LLM. That's our core secret sauce. And what the reasoning engine does is basically logical reasoning. So when Gary was saying earlier, insurance, it's all just a bunch of rules. Our reasoning engine is able to have a precise logical understanding of what those rules mean and how they apply. Once you've got that understanding, you can apply it to any scenario. So for underwriting, this could be, how do the facts about a particular risk that I'm considering insuring, how do my underwriting guidelines and rules apply to those? Not only do I give you an answer, I can give you a traceable explanation of why. I'm going to give you the same answer every time. But thanks to LLMs, you can interact with that reasoning engine in natural language. So you get that smooth, fluid interactions that we've all come to expect from playing around with the LLMs, Geminis, ChatGPTs of the world. But you now are getting an answer. The thinking, the reasoning is coming from a system that you can really trust is applying your rules correctly.
I love it. By the way, I'm just going to quick show of hands. Has anyone else heard of this buzzword, prior to this session? Lisa? So, Drew, you can't put your hand up. That's cheating. 3, 4. Okay, we've got 4 out of about 200 people that have heard of this before. So
it's not buzzy enough then, because it's a big deal.
But the other thing that I loved was you made all of these difficult decisions readable by a layman, i.e. me. So tell me more about how that worked.
Yeah, the way you set our reasoning engine up to answer questions accurately is you use a special language that we've developed. It's called the Cogent language. Actually, it's great that we're speaking to people who work with legal contracts all day long because it's no harder to read than a contract, but it is formal and precise. So you can read it, you can understand it, but our reasoning engine actually compiles down into the sort of logical reasoning, problem-solving code that it understands. You use LLMs to go from your truly open-ended natural language to this precise cogent language. And once you've got that, that becomes your single source of truth. You've broken down a wall between business and technology, between business and engineering, because you've now got a spec, formal spec for your underwriting guidelines or whatever it is, reads like plain English, but actually is executable code without having to worry about, did I get the prompt right? You know, it looks sort of like a prompt, except you don't have the problem of, you know, when I throw a new question at the LLM, is my prompt going to do well? Prompt engineering as computer programming, we think there's sort of a missing piece there, and we've added that missing piece there, to that puzzle with this Cogent language that we put in the middle.
And I think that, for me, was part of the secret sauce. Tom invented the next version of Gemini. We're still on 1.5, but thanks for launching 3.5 for us today. I am joking in case anyone double checks me on this. But this, for me, was the kind of the aha moment that went, so I've now got explainability. I've got a contract as a code. I can do it in plain English, and no matter where I am in the insurance organization, everyone can understand it. And then getting back to the hallucination stroke prompting question, we've seen enough examples in proof of concept where people have said to us, yeah, but if we ask the prompt in a slightly different way, we get a slightly different answer. That's gone now.
Yeah, it's really not an issue for us. Once you have the rules of your business captured in this Cogent language, you can 100% guarantee that you're going to answer those questions, any questions about how those rules apply to a particular scenario or what changes you might want to make to achieve a particular outcome. That's all just fully reliable. And so I really liked what, I think it was Amy from Zurich was talking about with, oh, hi, yeah.
She still wants fax machines, by the way.
Off the fax machines, you know, when we get there, like, so much is happening that lets you have the data available that you can start automating this, but what are you actually going to use to help your underwriters facing the market understand, okay, you know, how could I advise a client on, or a broker on, what changes could I make that would actually make my underwriting policy happy with this risk? And that's the sort of thing that our reasoning engine can go back and forth. Like, it's really or what Tom was saying about, you know, we're now moving from data to decision because of all this groundwork that's been laid over the last 5 years. What will be that decision engine? And you've got a trust problem if it's just an LLM, but if you put that LLM together with something like a symbolic component like our reasoning engine, then you've now got very dynamic decision support you can really trust.
This sounds really complicated.
We make it very easy.
Cue the next question. How difficult is it to put in practice?
That's where the LLMs really lower the barrier to entry. So now you're trying to write this document. Well, actually, that's all you have to do. That's all you have to do is write a single document that says, here's my rules, here's my objectives, and now you've got an API generated programmatically. You can integrate that like any vanilla software integration, and it speaks your language. You know, you're now just talking not in terms of logic and if-thens and ors and ands. You're talking in terms of risks and properties.
So like if your underwriting guidelines or claims guidelines or anything like that, we can convert that to code and apply that to an LLM.
Yeah, code that reads like English, and now an LLM helps you do that conversion and helps you interact with that, get that out of the box.
Gary Hoberman is often very excited. I'm sure he's still in the room somewhere. There we are, thank you. But when Gary saw this, he literally lit up like God knows what. You've just announced a partnership with Uncork.
That's right.
Tell us more about this.
Yeah, I mean, we're so excited about the complementarity there. Gary and Uncork have done incredible things in terms of bringing this platform, like bringing software to just such a reliable level. It gives you such a foundation to operate over where, again, like Gary said, it's just a bunch of rules. The kind of reasoning we can do over those rules once you bring those rules in, combined with the reliability and traceability of the applications that Uncork builds, you now have, think of it as we're adding some serious intelligence to some of these applications, taking it, in addition to just we have workflow, we have data management, we're now doing interactive problem solving, telling you how your rules apply, telling you what decisions you could make to improve your business outcomes, all on that foundation of Uncork.
And I love this because today is all about ecosystems to bring people together. This, for me, is a perfect combination of, as you said, complementary technologies. 2 last questions. I'm going to run out of time. Number 1 was, give us a real-life example of customers. I know you've got quite a few now.
It's actually fun how broad our base. I mean, we're a general AI platform. So, there's a lot of rules in insurance. There's a lot of rules in designing your kitchens. We have a kitchen designer planner layout that blows IKEAs out of the water for, well, if you want to move your fridge over here, we can do that, but we'll have to move your stove over here, and you're going to want to put your dishwasher like that. We do complex travel planning, book the most complicated around-the-world itinerary ticket you've ever heard of, and more, but at least that gives you some, and insurance, so it gives you some sense of the breadth.
Last one. Robin keeps asking people about where we are in 5 years. I think, Robin, this is where we are right now. Where are you going to be in 5 years? Not you, Greg, but EC.
At least for insurance, what I hope we've got, and I don't think it's 5 years away, I think it's 1 to 2, you've got intelligent assistants helping underwriters, brokers, risk managers make decisions, understand how the rules apply to the data, and just sort of a co-pilot riding along with you that you can trust, that frees up not just the boring data entry part, like I agree that part's gonna be solved, but is giving you good suggestions. You're like, oh, I wouldn't have thought of how, if I advise the customer to take these remediating actions, I could actually price a policy for them. Giving you suggestions like that, I think that's 1 to 2 years.
Awesome. I'm sure you're going to have a queue of people at you at drinks later. So with that, round of applause, please, for Greg. Matthew, back to you.